Welcome in On Deck, I'm Tyler Redmond. As always, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to this channel, of course hit the bell for notifications so that you can stay up to date with everything going on in Braves country, and we got a lot to talk about today. Of course, the roster cuts were made. We got to talk about who's going to possibly be on the bench on opening day and possibly even throughout the regular season. But before we do, we got to pay the bills. Got to talk about www.LLERANDIgloves.com. Their phone number on the screen as well. Go check these guys out. It's really worth the look, I promise. They shipped me a glove the other day. I've been throwing with it ever since. I have fallen in love with it. High quality leather. Should be a high quality price, but it's actually not. It probably fits right into your budget. I really suggest you go do this, guys. Baseball season's here. You can really upgrade your kid's glove. It's a good Christmas present. It's a good birthday present for a baseball player. I promise you will not be disappointed. They are great gloves. You can also customize them. 18 different colors. Team name, their name, number, whatever you want on it, they'll put it on there, I promise, and it's all for a very good price. So beyond that, we got to talk about the Braves for a second. Of course, the roster cuts were made. But we're going to talk about who's left, right? Not who's gone. We're going to talk about who's left. Of course, people have been reallocated to AAA. People have been reallocated, into minor league camp. Whatever the situation may be, that's fine. But we got to talk about who's left. Who can fill the bench role? So the guys left that I think that could make the bench role, possibly they're still in a battle for it, are guys like Johan Camargo, Jake Lamb, Abraham Almani, Pablo Sandoval, Jason Kipnis, Adrianza, Guillermo Heredia, INCIARTE, who is on the injured list right now, and SEAN KAZMAR. So we're going to talk about who has a shot in just a second, but first off, let's just get this out of the way. I think it's fair to say that Johan Camargo is probably safe, one, due to his offseason performance in the Dominican League, plus his versatility, and not to mention, it's his spot to lose, right? He's not an invader coming in. He's a guy that we've known for some years now, and we know what he brings. So far in spring training, he's not hitting too well, only 167, but look, it's a small sample size. I will say that over the past few years, there's been a downward trend in his batting average that I would like to see boost up this year, but we'll see. That's been since 2017. So no reason to think he won't make it just because he's been around. There's no reason to think he wouldn't be placed right back in there. But there is certainly room for improvement out of Johan, and that's what I hope to see this year. So let's just say for this purpose, it's safe to say he's got a bench role right now. So what about some of the others, right? Jake Lamb, we're going to talk about him first. Jake Lamb is a guy that the Braves really seem to be trying to take a chance with, and it's easy to see why. He was an all-star in 2017, and it wasn't long ago that he was hitting north of 300. But what have you done for me lately, right? That's the question that you're going to want the answer to. He's not doing too well so far in spring training. In 16 at-bats, he's only got 2 hits, and he also has 5 strikeouts. Now, that's not telling you everything because even Marcell Ozuna has that same 125 average, and he leads the team in strikeouts. But Marcell isn't trying to earn a spot. He already did last year. So I'm not quite ready to say Lamb is the guy, if I had to be asked right now. Jason Kipnis, that guy on your screen on the right there. I've been rooting for Kipnis since he came to the Braves. He obviously really wants to be here. Had a nice Instagram post when he first came over. And that big home run yesterday may help his case. So far in spring training, he's 4 for 17. 235 is respectable. And you throw in a homer and 3 RBIs, I'll take it right now, over Jake Lamb. But I think his determining factor will be in the regular season. I would put him there on opening day. That remains to be seen what exactly is going to happen right there. Pablo Sandoval, who you just saw on your screen, I don't think there's any reason not to think Pablo Sandoval is going to make it. His numbers in spring training are actually pretty good compared to some of the others. Surprisingly, he's doing the best out of any of the guys I'm about to mention. He's just edged out of the top 10 in batting average, and the Braves really seem to like having him around, whether it be for his veteran approach or whether it be for his postseason experience, whatever it may be, whether they're just taking a chance on the guy. He certainly has a shot to make the bench. I don't know how much I believe those numbers are sustainable, but who am I to tell him no? Do I think he'll have some in-season appearances? Absolutely I do. I don't think there's any reason not to think that they're going to give him a shot. But considering he was added to that postseason roster, I don't put anything past him. You know what? If he's not ready to quit, I'm not ready to see him quit. So we'll see what happens. I think he's trying to prove himself. I think he's trying to prove that he can still hang around. And who am I to tell him no? Still, though, there are a lot of guys that are wanting to do the same thing. A lot of younger guys, a lot of stronger guys, and a lot of guys that potentially have a lot more upside. So keep in mind, it's a small sample size. No matter what we're going to show you here, it is a small sample size in spring training. It doesn't mean everything. And it doesn't mean that the Braves are going to go solely by the numbers. A lot of it has to do with what they're seeing, improvements they're seeing, things like that. Another guy we're going to talk about, INCIARTE. And INCIARTE probably isn't going to start, right? And that has led to a lot of you guys coming at me, put Ender on the bench, right? He could do well off the bench. I don't, historically he hasn't. We're going to get into that in a second. But Christian Pasha has obviously been groomed to take over center field. That leaves Ender in quite the predicament, right? He could, in theory, start on opening day to push Pasha back a month to give the Braves another year of control. That could still happen, but he's out right now with a thumb injury. We don't know when he's going to come back. So it's looking like Pasha is going to be your opening day starter in center field. Ender is also not known for his bat. He's known for that gold glove, right? In fairness, he was doing well at the plate before he got injured. He only had 9 at-bats, but he got 3 hits, and he had a batting average of .333. We all know about his weak swing, right? His weak, how weak his hits are a lot of the time. But forget that for a second. Let's look at some of his bench numbers. As a starter, Ender has a .284 batting average, and he's slugging .388. Off the bench, Ender has a .197 batting average, and he's slugging .268 with only 1 homer. Granted, it's a small sample size, super small sample size, so you don't really know what you're going to get, but he also doesn't have a lot of experience. It's a lot different starting a game than it is coming off the bench. Ask Charlie Culberson, it's a lot different, and I don't know that he's the kind of player that can do that. Ender is good enough to be in any major league outfield based solely on his fielding ability. I don't doubt that for a second. I just don't know how much I have confidence in his ability off the bench. I'm not saying he can't, I'm not saying he won't. He'll most likely start there opening day. I think he'll most likely come off the bench. There's no reason, unless he's still hurt, to keep him off of there. Because, again, it's his spot to lose. Not to mention, he's out right now with a thumb injury, so we might not have to worry about it on opening day. But we'll see. I think he'll at least start there on opening day. Got some other guys to talk about. Some guys you may or may not be familiar with. First off, Adrianza. Now, this is the guy that walked it off a couple days ago. Adrianza is doing really well in spring training. That 3-run homer caught a lot of attention, but it wasn't the only thing. He's also 5 for 14, and that's .385 in spring training so far. He looks good. He looks really good. That swing he connected with the other day caught a lot of attention, had a lot of power behind it. It also sounded really good. He could certainly land on the opening day roster if that success continues, but it's got to continue to get him there. If he wants an opening day spot, he's got to have that same success throughout spring training, and he's got to continue to prove himself. He's done that so far. Hopefully that will continue for him to be on the opening day roster. Another guy that could potentially be there, he's still on the active roster right now for spring training, Guillermo Heredia, center fielder. He's doing okay in spring training. He's 4 for 16, but nothing really special there. Those 4 base hits, no homers, no RBIs, really low leverage situation, not even one double, not one triple, no extra base hits, it's all been singles. So I just don't know that he's in the plan for this season. I think I think he's there for depth at the moment. We'll see what happens. I just haven't seen enough out of him to know what we're going to get out of him. But he's on his way back, so we'll see. Abraham Almani, right fielder. He's the same boat as Guillermo Heredia, the guy we just spoke about. Hitting .214, less at-bats than Heredia. He does have a triple and a double to his name, though, but also 6 strikeouts. So those 2 guys, Abraham Almani and Heredia, I just don't know how much confidence I have that they're going to be there on opening day. However, a guy that, frankly kind of came out of nowhere, he's forced everyone to take a second look. His name's SEAN KAZMAR, second baseman. We're going to take a second look right now. He's leading the Braves in homers so far in spring training with 3. Now, Ronald Acuna's rising through the ranks fairly quickly, but he's leading right now with 3. And if you have your MLB notifications on, you've seen this guy's name multiple times on your phone. I guarantee you. I've seen his name a ton of times, and I'm like, who is this guy, right? So we're going to take a second look at him. He's been in 11 at-bats, and he has 6 hits to show for it. 3 of those are homers, by the way. You throw in a double, and he seems to be filling in a role that could potentially land him on the bench. So, small sample size, as always, could have just been hot at the right time, but he is hitting .545 right now, and we need to take notice. He's even been, he's even picked up a couple of walks, and that's just as good as getting a single to me. So, that makes his on-base percentage .615. Was he in the plan? No. Could he be? Absolutely, especially with the competition right now at the bench. So, we'll see. I think he has to be considered until it crashes. Until the wheels fall off, you got to give him a shot. So we'll see if he makes opening day roster. Obviously, his success in spring training needs to continue. If it doesn't shut down, don't shut it down. So what's for certain? That sounds like an easy question that I can give you an easy answer to. Unfortunately, it's not. It's a race, and we're only partially into it. I think some of these guys have taken their opportunity and done the most with it. These are all just numbers. They can only tell you the past. The Braves, Brian Snitker, see these guys every day. Only he and a few others know who's best for Atlanta throughout the season. Have faith that they'll make the right call.